This that rich genius effect.
I already know.
Yeah, this that rich genius effect.
Favorite podcaster
Yeah.
slash rapper and your favorite producer.
Yeah. This your man Rich Notch, one half of the Rich Genius Show. Tall Genius gonna be here today, but we got a special guest in the building with us today. The legendary Chip Fu from the platinum selling group Fu-Schnickens. Thank you for coming out, brother.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me, bro.
No doubt, no
Thanks
doubt.
for having me, for real.
Word, man. Yeah, let's just start from the beginning.
Okay.
Let's dive into the beginning a little bit. How it all started, like you getting into the industry, Fu-Schnickens forming and everything. You give us a little backstory of that.
Grew up in East Flatbush, Brooklyn. My brother used to come home and he'd play a bunch of hip hop and a bunch of reggae music. I think I was about the age of 10, and he noticed that I just had this different knack for music, and I started writing at the age of 9. And it was just basically straight reggae music in the beginning. And my brother used to actually take me to all the sound systems in Brooklyn and have me jump on these sound systems at the age of 10 going on 11. And I was murdering the dudes who was nice at the time that was like 15 or whatever, 15 to mid-20s. So for me, it all changed when educated rapper from UTFO, they were in a group called, they weren't UTFO at the time, the name is gonna come. But they played my brother's 16th birthday party, actually. We lived on 56th, they lived on 55th. They played my brother's birthday party. And I was 11 years old, and I said to him, to educated rapper, I was like, I wanna do a birthday rhyme for my brother. So I rhymed something, and I remember that day he told my brother, he was like, yo, you gotta look out for your little brother. He got something special. Growing up in East Flatbush, Brooklyn, you saw everybody, Chubb Rock, Howie T, R.I.P. to Howie T, Special Ed, and Buster, you know what I'm saying? So it was crazy just growing up in that time where, you had Starlight Ballroom and everything, so you'd run to the hip-hop dance, and then you run to the reggae party, you know what I'm saying? So as time progressed, Pac Fu lived directly across the street from me. Pac Fu and Mach Fu went to FDR High School together.
Okay.
Pac Fu and Mach Fu, they started the group first. I was the last person to get into the group. So I got into the group, and from there we went and we just started doing these battles around Brooklyn and in the city. And what got the attention of the record companies was I was running on stage and signing up for the dancehall competition and signing up for the hip-hop competition. So I would win the hip-hop competition and the dancehall competition to be the last man on stage. So from there, Jamal Ski was like, yo, this kid is crazy. You know what I mean? Somebody needs to sign him, So after a while, I met up with Livio G out in Queens, producer, and he helped me to understand what I was doing, counting bars, etc. So from there, we went to Howard University, and they had this thing called How Could I Be Down? And we went out there and we destroyed it. And from there, Jive signed us, you know what I'm saying? And after that, everything just took off, yeah.
Okay. But then that's when 91 came.
Yes,
and
sir.
I dropped the debut album.
Yes, sir.
If you don't take it personal, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
What do you recall back then, like when it came to making the album, like the
One of the most weirdest things was I had hernia surgery prior to recording the album. And I had to record Ring the Alarm laying on my back on a cot. So they mic'd the room where I was laying on my back, and I recorded Ring the Alarm, and that's how it came out. And I never re-recorded it. That was just the recording, you know what I'm saying? So it went directly from demo stages to, releasing it. So I normally laugh when people be like, yo, that's crazy. I was like, you don't know how crazy that is. I had to lay on my back while recording that.
damn.
Another thing was, working with Ali Shaheed Muhammad. Because of the success of Ring the Alarm and Ring the Alarm going gold, right? Jive was like, you got to hurry up and finish the album. We finished the album in approximately 2 days because they wanted to capitalize on what was going on with Ring the Alarm. So we finished the album in 2 days. So Ali came in with all the beats. We had two different studios. So while I was recording True Fu-Schnick, you had Pac Fu over there recording La Schmoove, and we was just basically just switching rooms and dropping verses and making sure that everything was recorded, and we got it done within the 2 days, to meet the deadline and platinum out the box. So, I thank God
Crazy,
for that.
2 days.
2 days.
And that's when platinum actually meant something because people really had to go out and cop the physical. The numbers was
Exactly.
real.
Them numbers
Not like
was-
today.
Exactly.
Numbers is crazy today. But
Yes, sir.
yeah, so Ring the Alarm. 'Cause I remember the first time I think I heard Ring the Alarm when I saw the video on Video Music Box. They used to
Right.
do Nervous Thursdays with Crazy Sam.
Yes.
So on Nervous Thursdays, I never forget, I was wild young, but I used to, my older sister, she used to always have it on Channel 31 after school.
Right.
And I was like, yo, this is different. Like, this is hard. Me, my oldest sister, we was feeling it off the rip. Know what I mean?
Right,
I'm like, yo, these guys is different, but that joint was dope. Yeah, like, of course, True Fu-Schnick and La Schmoove.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's how y'all got Fife on La Schmoove then. Y'all had to connect already with Ali.
No. Fife actually grew up with Pac Fu.
Oh, okay.
Right. They grew up, their mothers knew each other from Trinidad. So he normally used to come on the block. And, he grew up with us, from small. So I remember one day when we finally got signed and it happened to be the label he was on, he was like, yo, we got to do something. So when Ali was producing La Schmoove, he walked into the studio and was like, this is the song I'm going to get on. And I came in after, you know what I'm saying? Because remember, everybody was laying their verses in different rooms. I came in and heard his verse. And I was like, what the fuck is that? It's like, yo, that's Fife. I was like, yeah, that shit is dope, you know what I mean? Laid my verse and finished up, and then we just kept moving from there. But it was a blessing to have him on that song and for the song to do what it did. And, history was made because we were like one of the groups that Tribe Called Quest worked with outside of themselves. You know what I mean? They produced us, and then from there they started producing everybody else. So I think that was part of history, and I'm appreciative of that. Shout out to Ali, Shaheed, Muhammad, and Tribe
R.I.P.
Called
Fife,
Quest.
yo.
R.I.P. Fife,
yeah.
definitely. Yep.
That's dope. So then y'all took a little break and then came back with the sophomore album. You know what I mean? Nervous Breakdown, 94.
Right.
What's your memories when it comes to that, the making of that album?
I think that was when there was a lot of first and foremost, the album was not supposed to happen. I was offered my solo deal at that time. And at that time, they never said if the Fu-Schnickens was going to get the second album. So in my mind, I was like, so it's all on me to make sure I do what I do with the solo album, and then there'll be another Fu-Schnickens album. So what I did was I told them, I'm not going to do a solo album. We're going to do another Fu-Schnickens album. You know what I mean? So I gave up the right for the group to make sure that we stay balanced and move forward. You know what I mean? I think for me, that was a lesson in being selfless, but I also understand that, what you do for people, they may not do for you. You get me? So the album came out, went gold. The album went gold. We had Breakdown on there, which was a huge hit.
It was one of my standouts. Breakdown,
That
High
was-
Low. Yeah,
Yes, High Low.
High Low was my
Breakdown.
joint too.
Breakdown was a huge hit and had us performing all over the place, man. I mean, one of the highlights of that was performing in L.A. We headlined the show. It was us, Biggie, Craig Mack, and Drew Down. And we headlined the show, and Funkmaster Flex was playing. So that was one of the highlights from that album. But when you're doing stuff in other places, that information don't hit New York. So I'm standing there going, I hope that nigga go tell him that we headlined this shit over here in LA, you know what I'm saying? And no one ever really spoke about it. But, at the end of the day, the dopest thing is 3 young men out of East Flatbush creating music. No one knew we was from East Flatbush. Everybody thought that we was from Long Island because of how the music was sounding, you know what I'm saying? They always say that when you come with some off-the-wall stuff or it's left field that can't come out of Brooklyn, but it came out of Brooklyn, and we did what we did. You know what I mean?
I thought y'all was from Queens, actually. When I was younger,
See?
for some reason, I thought Queens
See?
at first. Know what I mean?
Nah.
Probably Long Island, because they probably saying, like leaders of the new school, De La Soul.
Exactly.
They come with the little,
exactly.
okay.
Nah, East
I can
Flatbush,
see that,
Brooklyn,
but-
right there, you know?
Okay.
So that shocked people when we sat down and they asked us, where you from? We was like, we from East Flatbush, Brooklyn, right there. And they was like, nah. But, you know, I think that they were wondering where we were pulling the energy from. And, you know, they had to understand that growing up in East Flatbush, you had a cornucopia of all types of music around you. You listening to calypso, you listening to soca, you listening to dancehall and reggae. So how do you think you create? You're creating something totally different, and your syncopation gonna be totally different when it comes to how you write and your rhythm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a family that played steel pan, and I could play the steel pan. So I'm hearing something totally different when I'm listening to tracks. I'm not hearing what anybody else is hearing, right? So if I hear a beat, I'm hearing how I would play an instrument on there. So the cadence would come from that when it comes to writing. So that's why it's always something different when you hear me, because it's like, all right, but I'm approaching it from the standpoint as a person playing an instrument and not just a person writing. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Dope.
Thank you.
So What's Up Doc was one of the big singles too. Features. I got two questions for this right here. This question right here.
Okay.
2-part question. First of all, how did y'all get Shaq? Because at the time, he's still a huge star, of course, we know that. But at the time, he was like the biggest star in the universe. 94 Shaq? Like, come on. Then, second question is, on the album, the beat is different from the video version. Like, why was the I like both, but the video version was my favorite, that beat. Like,
Okay. First and foremost, that record wasn't even supposed to come out. Because at the time when we recorded that, you had Space Jams out. So Warner Brothers was like, there ain't no way in hell we're going to let y'all release that record when we got this Space Jam movies out that's doing so well because of Bugs Bunny and everything else. The original record, we sampled Bugs Bunny saying, "What's up, Doc?" So they was just like, we ain't clearing that. That's done. Y'all just going to have to keep it in the vault. So I said to myself, yo, we got to find a way to do it. Didn't know Shaq was a big fan. I'm not a person that's into sports. I knew nothing about what Shaq was doing or nothing. So this was new to me. Just flying over there. My other two partners was like, yo, and I'm sitting there going, okay. You know, I'm not saying that West Indian people don't like basketball. I was like, yo, soccer, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what this is about.
Yeah.
But my father was a big basketball fan.
Okay.
So when I told my father was like, nah, that's not gonna happen. I was like, all right, probably not. Went down there, met the guy, big fan. We just clicked. He was like, yo, I got rhymes about whatever, and I was like, all right, cool. The thing about it that people don't know about Shaq is he's seriously a hip hop head, right? I seen him bust windmills before we went into the studio. Right? Like serious windmills, not the fake windmills where you push off and then spin.
Yeah.
No, windmills. He's busting windmills. So he was really into the culture, along with playing basketball. So I believe he was one of those athletes that really was a B-boy prior to anything else. You know what I mean? So for me, seeing that, I was like, yo, all right, well, let's do a song together. For him to walk in there, he had a piece of paper that had mad tape on it, right? And I'm looking at him like, all right, so if he took the time to tape these pieces together, it just automatically lets me know how he thinks as a person. This doesn't work. Let me put this piece there. So he took his time. So when he stepped into the booth, I kid you not, we only had to fix 2 things about it. Just 2, right? So to me, it seemed like he prepared for that particular point in time. You know what I mean? Like, I was waiting for my shot. Let's go. We fixed 2 lines in there, and after that, the verse that you hear is the verse that he spit. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that felt, and then it just skyrocketed. We got another platinum album or another platinum single. You know what I'm saying? From there. So yeah.
wow, man. Salute to Shaq.
Yeah, big up to Shaq.
That's crazy, I mean. So after that, why did there was no more Fu-Schnickens albums after that? We only got 2.
Few things. First and foremost, Jive wanted us to be something that we did not want to be. Like, we knew what worked for us, right? So you can't extract that and say, we need you to be like this. We can't be something that we're not, So when you bring in tracks to us that was like super corny. I ain't writing to that, man. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I understand that it's a business and then there's growth. But if you signed us for sounding a particular way, understand that we're gonna grow with that sound. That doesn't mean that we couldn't advance when it came to that. And they didn't see that. So the only way to get out the contract was for the group to break up. Yes, there was inner rumblings in the group also, but not to the point where, we, were disgruntled with each other and didn't like each other. You know what I'm saying? Those are my brothers. But at the same time, we had to get out the contract. We got out the contract, and then from there, we just decided, like, yo, it's all good. So, like some groups, they have that jinx where they drop a third album and it don't work. We did two platinum albums, and we call that what it is. And from there, we decided to move on and just do our own stuff,
Okay, dope. Know what I mean? Well, that definitely gave us some classic choices off those albums. Know what I mean?
Sir.
Word. So, your flow, I gotta ask you about that. I don't know if there's a certain name for the fast flow, because there's a couple of rappers that try the speedy flow. I call it like an automatic, like a semi-automatic flow. Like that just be going crazy. Now, was you always spitting like that when you first started, or did you like gravitate towards that later on? Like you started constructing, you know what I mean?
I always spit like that. The first time, if you notice from Ring the Alarm, it's basically the same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
But people think, as we were doing more records, yes, it got more advanced, but it's basically the same syncopation as a dancehall artist. I was just a dancehall artist in hip hop pockets, different. So when you heard it, it's just like, yo, I mean, this is different. You know what I'm saying? So for me, especially growing up in a West Indian household, I'm hearing different stuff.
Yeah.
I'm hearing ska records where, I call it mathematics. The math is different on how people wrote ska records and the pockets that they were hitting. I was trying to hit those pockets, writing to hip hop records. You know what I'm saying? So that was just my math for myself. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
But yours was so dope because what separates you from others, dude, it was fast but clear. You could still hear what you're saying, and you were spitting bars.
Thank you.
Some people, I ain't gonna name no names, some people be spitting the fast flow but don't be saying nothing.
They don't be saying our blood.
They be saying a whole lot of nothing. Just because you rhyme fast, I respect the flow, I respect the breath control.
Right.
But if you're not saying none of the bars is weak, it's like, you was doing it and bars was hitting.
Thank you.
There's only a few that I actually see do that. You, Buster, and when he gets on, you know what I mean? Twister, he's another one. But I saw a lot try it, but I'm like, you rhyming fast, but you're not saying nothing. You know what I mean? But yours was definitely rapid fire, but clear with the bars. You know what I mean? Precise. So I always acknowledge that. So now you got the new music you're working on and everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? The EP dropped August 1st, which is dope. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Like, it's dope when you don't want it to end. So it saved 4 tracks, but it's really only 3 songs because the intro. So when it ended, I was tight. I was like, damn, I want to hear more. Like when the last joint ended, I'm like the me joint was just fire.
Thank you.
Straight up fire. Levels, fire. I love it. Still had that Caribbean. You always kept the Caribbean essence to the hip hop. Thousands and hundreds was just fire the way it ended. But I was I didn't want it to end. I was like, damn, he could have given us like 2 more, but I was like, I respect it, I mean, because we ain't hear from you in a minute. So I'm like, it's still fresh because sometimes as a fan of hip hop, like I grew up in it, we be scared sometimes when dudes we used to respect back in the days come back and they might not be hitting. A lot of dudes be hitting lately though, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
So when you came back with it, I'm like, damn, this nigga ain't lose a step. It sounds even fresher and harder. I advise all y'all to check it out. It's on Even app. That's an exclusive app. Download Even. It's free. Check out the EP. It's dope. Know what I mean? The beginning of the reckoning. What made you choose that as a title for the EP?
In this day and age, a lot of people are, they're stuck on this ageism thing where if you're a certain age, you ain't supposed to be rhyming. But you could put me in a circle with your favorite MC and it's over for him. Trust me. And I say that with confidence. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing about anything else because of, how I was raised in the game, you know what I'm saying? So me sitting back and watching everything and waiting for my turn, that's another thing. The only reason why I didn't drop anything is because I was still signed to a publishing company. So anything that I dropped, they would have owned 50% of it, so I didn't want to drop anything. So I went under different names, Jungle Rock Jr. and all this other stuff, and I was dropping straight reggae records. No one knew it was me until I had a record called Love Me Sensi that dropped, and it was on the same rhythm as the Snow. Finally, no, not Snow. Finally, Collie Buds. Finally, the herbs come around. So all the radio stations started playing my version and not his. So they was like, "Yo, who is this kid?" We spent $50,000 for this Collie Buds record because they got, I think they did a 50 Cent, a G Unit remix and all this other stuff. But they was like, "This kid with this Love Me Sensi record, he's destroying New York City. Who is he?" And then when they found out it was me, they was like, "Nah, cease and desist, bro."
Wow.
We got he coming back strong. Well, now we cease and desist. So I sat back saying, all right, it's all good. I didn't put it out there for sale or nothing. So the publishing company that I was still tied to couldn't make any money, but they were just like, yo, that record is huge. What are you doing? And I'm like, let me out my contract, and they're like, nah. So over the years, just kept putting out reggae records, little rhyme thing here, rhyme thing there, Didn't even do much collabs until finally, they let me go. And I'm like, all right, I'm about to go ape shit. It's going to be crazy right now. It's been a while since people heard records from me, so it's going to be nonstop. We have the beginning of the reckoning. Next, we have Invisible Footsteps. After that, we have Royal Blood, and I'm recording all that right now. Royal Blood, and then we have Wonderful, which is myself and Pete Rock, Chocolate Boy Wonder, and Chip Fu, Wonderful. It's crazy. So
That's my favorite producer.
I kid you not, it's crazy. New record with Shaq, but it's on a reggae beat. We are killing it.
Oh wow.
Record with Busta, killing it. We got 2 records together, so we're working.
That's
Right?
crazy.
So
I was gonna ask that too. Like you
we're
and Busta
working.
on the same record together. I wanted to always
We got
say it. That's
2
crazy.
records right now, and they are disgusting. And
Wow.
I'm just what I'm doing is just working hard and staying focused. Cause even though we did the song Lash Move, we ain't got nothing to prove. I got a lot to prove to people after all these years. I don't want them to ever think. And here's the thing: it may not even be for myself, right? I could be doing all this stuff and just carving this weird path where people are just like, something. I got to put that whole thought about ageism aside. It could be for somebody else while I'm doing this. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I think as a person. But I just want people to know, nah, man, I ain't that one to play with. So when you hear all these other new records, the Afrobeat records and all of that stuff, yeah, I've been sitting back and conjuring up some stuff, and y'all gonna get it. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all gonna get it. I have no time to play with y'all boys no more. That's it.
Forward to it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, sir.
So you brought up the ageism. Like, why do you think that plays a part only in rap? Like, no other genres of music do they like that narrative like age discrimination happens. Like you got Mick Jagger, Billy Joel, Bruce Springsteen. They can still come out with new music. They can perform old music. Nobody is saying, "Oh, how they still doing this? They too old." How Billy Joel putting out something new? Nobody's saying that. But why in rap music, which upsets me, like why in rap music they come with this whole age basically discrimination? Like after a certain age, you shouldn't be doing rap no more, making rap. Like why is that?
We were conditioned to think that way. That it's about competition. Even in other genres and in basketball and everything else. Even if, you gotta think about it. In school, if you were the best dressed and you heard that Chip Fu was the best dressed, it was competition already. We didn't even know each other, but it was competition because our own people said it first. You didn't even have to know me. But as soon as your man told you, nah, bro, that ain't came in with the brand new low, blah, 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 you like, I'm going to get him already, right? So this is something, to me, that's all conditioning. Where other genres and groups of people, they weren't brought up to think that way. Automatically it's competition. Oh, he could slap box better than you. Oh, they about to meet 6 o'clock, da-da-da-da. I'm out there with no shirt on, ready to slap. This is corny, right? So for me, I know that it all stems from that. So I approach it from a standpoint where I'm not in competition with anybody, right? As long as I can put out music and it's tasteful and makes sense, I'm going to do it. And I think I'm seasoned enough to know that if it's not good music, don't put it out. You know what I mean? And it's not like I'm trying to compete with the young heads. They're doing what they're doing and they're good at what they're doing. Do I have, some feelings about some of the stuff that they're doing? Yes, I do. But I'm not going to knock that. I understand that I grew up in a time where you really sat with your pen. Your pen had to make sense. If you're writing something and you knew that if you stood there and you said your first 2 or 3 bars, it had to move people. That's what it was. So for me, when I hear certain MCs, not all, I think that they gotten lazy when it comes to writing, and that's one thing that I take serious is writing. Like it may come across at a different cadence or whatever, but when you sit there and listen to that, you're gonna say, "Yeah, dude is creative."
Yeah.
You're not gonna say, "Oh, whatever." You're gonna say, "Yeah, dude is creative." Like I couldn't have done that. I'd rather you say that than anything else. Than that's what. No, you're gonna say that I couldn't have done that. So yeah.
Yeah, I always say it's not about age, it's about quality. Because
There you go.
it's some older cats that, to me, it ain't hitting the music. And then
Yeah.
there's some older cats with it, music is hitting veterans. Same with the young. Some
Yeah.
young cats, the music is hitting. It's a lot of young cats where it ain't really hitting, truthfully, as popular. To me, that's just my opinion. I don't think they take it, how you said, the pen game. I don't think they take it serious at all.
I'll say this too, right? The older you get and your experiences change the way in which you view things, right? So, for instance, let's say you're mid-40s and you lose your parents. Pen game ain't gonna be the same because you've experienced something that changed your dynamic and how you view music at the time. And when you step back into it to record, it may not even be with the same tenacity, right? Until you find that foundation again. I'm saying that from experience, right? It took me a minute to say, well, can I do this, again, or is it a young? I'm listening to what everybody else is saying, and when I started listening to myself, is when things change because you got to be the biggest believer in yourself first, and your team. You got to make sure your team is not a bunch of yes men. I don't have no yes men on my team. They'll curse me out and say, "Yeah, that's just fuck." Can I curse? Yeah, that's just fucking whack. Get out of here with that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Cousin will be on some, don't dress like that. Like they'll make sure that I'm straight before everything else. So when it comes to studying my particular thing that I have to do, I have to be the best at that because they're being that honest with me. So I think that with other, I'm gonna say legacy artists, it's the same thing. They have to find their footing because of certain experiences. And once they find their footing, trust me, and they lock in again, it's dangerous because we hear music different. And we were taught from the ones before us, Rakim. And you sit there and you can listen to a Rakim album, right? And be at a point where you're starting over again and be like, all right, I know what to do, right? Because it was so different. You know what I'm saying? He's saying stuff that people ain't thinking about. So, all right, I know what I'm going to do. You could take it from there, right? You would quicker listen to all of the legacy artists before you listen to some of the new artists. You know what I mean? To be inspired. I listen to all the legacy artists, and then I get inspired and be like, yo, it is over right about now. Who put out something? LL put out something? Yeah, let me hear. Dope. Who else put out something? MC Light? Who else? Buster did something? All right, that is wicked. All right, cool. I know what time it is right now.
Yeah.
You just take from that energy and be like, yo, I'm about to tear this shit up. And that's how I look at it. But I understand why certain artists get into that space and be like, yo, I don't know if I could do this again. And it's all about your experiences and the people around you. Because sometimes the people around you be like, yeah, give it up. But if they know that that's something that you truly love, they'll continue to push you. And I got to thank my team because they continue to push me. I'm about to beat everybody up in a minute. Watch. I ain't playing. No, I'm dead serious.
Gotta have
Watch.
a strong team.
Watch
For real.
me. Yeah.
Wow, that's for real. The next question I ask a lot of artists is from the past or present, like what artists would you like to work with that you never worked with? If you could work with anybody from the past or the present, like who would you like to collaborate with?
I'll tell you who I want to collaborate with. Eminem.
I can see that.
Eminem, that's a definite, Buster, I could check that off the list. Graph, I want to check that off the list. Dancehall artists, Barrington Levy, Skilly Bang, Massacre, all those dancehall artists with the skippy flow. Yeah, I want to mess with them too. Michael Jackson. The only reason why Michael Jackson is he's Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't like, but if those are my artists, those are the people that I look at now when I'm sitting down and I'm penning.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the artists that I would actually do songs with, Dead, artists that have transitioned, I would say Biggie and I would say Tupac. Met Tupac and we spoke, and I, I'm the only MC that he knows that's born on the same day as him. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do a song with him, to say, yo, we were born on the same day. We're actually the same age. Who's to say if we weren't born at the same time, but then to get a song done, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it would be Tupac. Other than that, no one else really. I don't want to say no. I don't like anything else, but
Yeah,
that would be it for now.
On your bucket list. No problem. That's dope. I could definitely hear you with Eminem. I could hear
Yeah,
that.
going back and forth. Let's stop playing them. Let's do
Yeah.
this song. Yeah, I have somebody reaching out to M2 actually, so we gonna see how that works out. Yeah.
Let's make that happen. And I think y'all, I don't know, one of the first, but yeah, probably one of the first to come with the Caribbean and the hip hop elements, and with the Asian, like with the hip hop. I mean, I know Wu did it, but y'all did it in '91. Wu Tang brought the little martial arts Asian to it too, and like I said, the Caribbean boot camp did it and everything with the Soundboy burial and everything. But yeah, I think y'all was one of the first.
The weirdest thing is we as a group were compared to more than several groups. Think about it. We were compared to Leaders. We were compared to DOS Effects. We were compared to everybody y'all could think of, because there's always a small piece of everything inside of Fu-Schnickens. That's what made us so different. You know what I mean? First with the Caribbean, right? Because you think about it, our first song was a dance hall record. A dance hall record that went gold. Then from that, the second single was a hip hop record, right? The second single was a hip hop record, and then, man, it's crazy. Second single was a hip hop record, and from there you started seeing a lot of other groups that looked like the Fu-Schnickens. You had one dude in there that could do the dance hall, and two dudes that was rhyming. So
I remember that.
there was a lot
of clones. There's a lot of clones biting.
There was a lot of groups that came out like that because they were like, okay, they tapped into something that was different. We allowed each other to just be who we were as people. And the whole Asian thing came from watching karate movies. But in all honesty, my father put me in a karate school because I was born with respiratory problems. So he put me in martial arts, so I could actually channel that energy and find a different way to breathe. So that's why he put me into martial arts, and that's why it was serious to me. So watching karate movies and actually bridging it with hip hop was kind of dope. So yeah, I was the dude that used to walk into the ciphers with the straw hat on, the 40 below boots, and a karate gi. Everybody used to laugh, and I would beat the 15 people that were in the circle, and I would walk out. And they wouldn't be laughing no more. Like I would actually walk into the cipher with my hands behind the back like the Chinese dudes, like, right. Right? You know what I'm saying? And tip the hat up and look at everybody be giggling. And I'm like, yo, who's first? And then you have some people that be like, yo, they do what they do, and I would murder the whole cipher. And that's how it started in the 90s before getting signed. It was like, yo, there's this dude in East Flatbush, Brooklyn. He's walking around with a bamboo hat on and a gi and some 40 belows, but he dude is nice. And I go to every show, cousin will tell you, I go to every show dressed like that. Some people will be like, I think your cousin crazy. I go to every show, but whoever got into that cipher, murdering it. And from there, that's how everything transpired. The weirdest thing is, cousin used to dance for me.
Okay.
Right? He used to dance for me, Mo. Right? He danced for me. And then he brought this kid named Ant. Right? Ant basically started Lyricist Lounge. Ant used to dance for the Fu-Schnickens.
Oh,
Right?
wow.
So it's just the weirdest dynamic how everybody was a part of everything. Cuzzy leaves, goes and works for Classic Concept with Ralph McDaniel. So you just seeing the growth of hip hop where you started from someplace and then everybody just branches out. So for me, it was dope to finally perform for Lyricist Lounge because I'm looking at Ant like, he used to dance for us. You understand what I'm saying? And even when they started doing Lyricist Lounge, and I used to go to see, all the groups that they were able to help cultivate and become stars is pretty dope. So yeah, you got to put East Flatbush on the map when it comes to stuff like that, man. We were all just young kids, and when you really think about our age, we were super young and had direction at that time. You talking 18, 19, right? fresh out of high school, going to college. We just going to go to college. Not even in college, going to classes. We playing spades and shit like that. But we saying to ourselves, yo, we got an idea that's gonna work. But just to see where everybody ended up at this particular point in time in our life right now, we could all say, yo, we were a part of that, part of the culture, and you can't front on the bricks that we laid in the culture. You know what I'm saying? Coming out of East Flatbush.
Contribution.
Yeah.
Shout out to East Flatbush. I
Yes,
know my people in
definitely,
Flatbush.
definitely,
Wow.
definitely.
But like you brought up a good point though. So I hear a lot of people kind of make excuses for a lot of the young artists. Oh, they young. You gotta give them time because they so young. No.
No.
Going back, like you said, y'all started off 18, 19.
Yes.
Y'all, Leaders, Tribe,
Right.
Queen Latifah, KRS, the list goes on, Nas. Everybody was young. But look how y'all was spitting. Look how y'all mindset and everything.
That's what I was
I
coming
don't think these kids read enough.
That's what I was coming to. It's everybody's mindset, right? KRS-One leaves where he's living. He goes into a shelter. He lives in the shelter and puts out music. He's putting out music. After performing, he's going back to the shelter, being who he is, becomes who he is. KRS-One leaves the shelter to become a man, right? He was what? 17, 18. Look at the mindset of that man. 17, 18. So I'm sitting there going, yo, if KRS-One could do that, we could do that. So you got us growing up in East Flatbush, West Indian home. You know we had to be inside at a certain time, but nah. Yo, 18, I'm out there doing what I got to do just to see it. Break dance and pop, just to see it. Coming home, and my father used to tell me, if you, I'll give you 3 years. If you can make something out of that in 3 years, keep going. Right? So you got to understand the mindset that he put me in. Yo, I didn't come from Barbados to come here to raise kids and you doing foolishness. Nah, but if this is going to keep you on the straight and narrow and all your friends are here in the basement and you guys are writing, God, that's 17. That's before leaving high school. Leave high school and to finally do it at the age of 19 going on 20 to do it. So these kids can't say, oh, experience. Nah. Sometimes you got to borrow from your parents' experience. I always say this in every interview. I don't think that I could have I don't think that I could have the mindset that my parents have to say to themselves, I'm getting up and going to another country. That in itself alone is totally different. Yeah, I'm getting up, I'm going to another country. I don't even know what's in that country. I'm going to raise kids, and that's what it is, and I'm going to keep going. So imagine that mindset. So for me, when I look at what they accomplished, that's what pushes me to be a better person. Like, yo, if they did that, I can't half step with nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all mindset when y'all was young back then. Like I said, the kids now, for the most part, I don't get it, but y'all was, whether it was street stuff or y'all dropping knowledge, we had shows that inspired us, like a different world and everything. It's just the whole mindset is just totally different now.
Yes.
I'm not giving them no passes just because of their age.
Yes,
like,
I'm with that. I'm with that.
Ain't getting no passes. All right, this is a good interview, man. I can ask you more, but I don't. All right, so one thing, if you could, this is my last question. If you could go back in a time machine, you could hop in a DeLorean, you know what I mean, and go back to the younger you when y'all just started like getting in the game, or right before the game, or when y'all just got in. What would the older you say to the younger you? Like, what would you go back to say to the younger you right now?
Yeah,
knowing everything you know now, what you've been through.
We was just talking about that.
See?
I'd have done the solo album.
You would have definitely did the solo.
I'd have done the solo album. No disrespect to my two bandmates, but I'd have done the solo album. I'd have done the solo album and made sure that I covered ground different for us, and then brought them back into the fold. But I had one of the biggest demands for a solo album. Money on the table and everything, but I was like, yo, because of how I was raised, I was like, what's going to happen to them? Let me do another Fu-Schnickens album first and then go into that. But then, but that's what I would actually do. I would actually tell the younger me to do the solo album. But, things fall how they supposed to fall, because I probably wouldn't be as hungry as I am now, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to music. So I think I would have told myself that, and I would have told myself to have more fun. I think I was the serious one where you never bumped into me anywhere, because I was in the crib understanding that it takes money to record and that we had to recoup that money. So I was the dude that said, yo, when I walk in there, the chorus is gonna be done, my verse is gonna be done within a half an hour because we're getting charged $100 an hour. So guys, hurry up. So I'm the dude sitting there going, let's get it done. You know what I mean? So I think that I would have had more fun. I would have went to, I'd have enjoyed it more. Not saying that I didn't enjoy it, but I would have enjoyed it more where, I'd have been able to go to certain places. We would go to places to perform. The other two would go out. I'd be in the room like, yo, I know we got to go in Friday to record. So let me make sure chorus is tight, whatever, you know. But I think I would have had more fun. Yeah, that's what I would have done. Yeah.
You was definitely like I didn't even know about like the labels, but growing up, like my older cousins and everything that playing music around us, they always felt like shit. Fu gonna have that solo.
Yeah.
Every group got that one person. Like leaders of this new school, we already knew Busta was coming out of that.
Right.
Jackson 5, you knew Michael was coming out of that. Like certain things, Destiny Child, Beyonce. It's just a given. Like they all got that one. You know what I mean? So we all thought that it was gonna be a Chip Fu. When my cousins was discussing that. Like I said, I was witnessing everything at a young age. And they like, yeah, Chip gonna come with a solo. It just, you know what I mean? But
nah, I was just like, yo, I didn't, what? Here's the thing: what you would do for somebody, you would want them to do for you, right? So I'm thinking that way. Like, yo, what if I wouldn't want things to end up bad for them in life? So I'm saying, let's do another album. You know what I mean? Let's, and then we take it from there after that. I mean, I think being selfless at the time was cool, but it taught me so much about me, what I could stand, what I can't stand, what I like, my likes, my dislikes when it comes to music, and just that experience alone, life experiences made me a different person. So now when I approach writing, I don't take that for I don't even take being in position to put out music as a joke. I can't take that as a joke. Like, all right, you're back in the driver's seat, sort of, and it's time for you to put out music. What are you going to do? I'm not going to scratch my head. I've been writing for all these years. So all I'm doing is saying, okay, let me just take time back and look at things. Things may move a lot slower because, I'm a family man, or whatever. And I look at life different. So it's more so, all right, let me focus on skill on these records. Let me let them know, all right, when you hear this record, every 2 bars, the flow is going to change. I'm back to that again where I'm going to teach you something. You can't be corny when you pick that mic up. I want to be able to say, well, listen, every 2 bars, the flow going to change. Yeah, you can't do that. Yo, bro, Chuck, trust me. Boom. And they're like, yo, yeah, he really did that. Not to come with the old okie doke flow and you just sitting there going, you're not moving me, bro. Like, what are you doing? I was the dude that sat there and was like, yo, I'm being moved. Like, I rather every time I do something, and I kid you not, every piece of work that I put out, there's gonna be a record or a few records on there that's gonna push people to be like, yo. And if I could push people to be like, yo, they're gonna push their pen. I have people from England saying, yo, we have thousands and hundreds on repeat. You in trouble. I was like, thank you. I'm glad that you said I'm in trouble. Because now they right.
yeah.
Now they saying, yo, if you could do that, I could do that. So we're gonna do the challenge. All y'all dudes from England that wanna do that, go ahead, do that. I'm not mad at that, but all it is just showing people, yo, push your pen. Push it. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it. Now, I mean,
Yeah, man, for real.
Can't wait for the new stuff to drop. Like,
Yes.
have you come up again? I want to be there when you do the shows and everything. Like I said,
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know, maybe it was the martial arts, but your breath control is crazy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because I saw him perform live. I'm letting y'all know recently at the park. He's not rhyming over no pre-recorded track, no vocals, which I hate when people do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's straight vocals, still killing it. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Like it was yesterday. Like he didn't lose a step. Like the breath control is crazy. Like
Yes, sir.
I'd say that I can't do that. I can't do that. Yeah, I don't smoke cigarettes, but I cannot. The way he do it, I can't do it. I tried, but that's why I salute. That's a skill in itself. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother dynamic when it comes to spitting bars and everything. You know what I mean?
Appreciate that, sir.
Yeah, man. But yeah, so yeah, we looking forward to the new stuff.
Yes, sir.
When you do shows and everything, please let me know. I just want to experience that. You know what I mean? I want to be a fly on the wall. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Get some footage and everything for real. I recognize
I'm with
greatness. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
I want to. Anything else you want to let the people know? Where they can catch you, they can hear the music and everything.
Brand new EP out called "The Beginning of the Reckoning." It's crazy. It's on Even Biz. apologies to all those people who went to get the link in the beginning and you were getting the full 4 error. It wasn't you. It was the server. So now that everything is fixed, everybody could go and get that. And
Yeah, I emailed them. I had issues. I thought I was gonna get the whole thing, and I just said so. I sent the email like, "Yo, what's going on? I paid for the album. I'm only getting," but then they responded back. I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm getting it later." Yeah, I was tight. I was like, yeah.
Everybody was tight. My phone was crazy. I was like, "Yo, stop calling me. I don't work for them." But yeah, more music coming out. Non-stop music. I'm never gonna stop putting out music. And another
don't
thing,
stop, please don't.
Another thing is. Artists coming up, believe in yourself more than your team believes in you. Believe in yourself more than your team believes in you. Because sometimes when your team sees that you believe in yourself more, it gives them reason to recalibrate and be like, well, if he believes in himself, I got to believe in this situation. And there'll be people out there that don't believe in you until you prove yourself. So you don't need any yes men around you. When you step in that room, just know that what you have is dope because you feel that it's dope. You'll know it. You know what I mean? And make sure your team is tight. Make sure that you spend time with your pen. Make sure that it makes sense. Whether it be in anything you want to be in life. You're trying to get a job or whatever. Believe in yourself first when you walk in there. Make sure that you rule that interview. Don't be afraid to ask questions. That's one thing that, again, we were conditioned not to ask. Be expressive. Be emotional at times if you need to be. Be that person that answers questions and asks questions too. Not because a person may have more money than you or in a different position doesn't mean that you can't ask questions. You'd be a fool not to ask questions. I'm good.
Dropping jewels. What I'm talking about. Thanks for coming up, man.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, can't wait for the new stuff and everything. This is the Rich Genius Show, Cam Tom Studio, NYC. We just had a great interview with the one and only Chip Fu, legend, MC, lyricist, real hip hop. Let's go.